Hello doll friends, this is Michael Kanadas with the Grovian Doll Museum and Carmel Doll Shop. Happy summer to all of you. And a couple weeks ago we shared a French fashion doll with a trunk and trousseau with all of you, and you seem to enjoy that. And the item that we're sharing today is not part of our collection. We were recently very fortunate to have a collection come our way to handle, and it had in the collection many old friends of ours. And when I say old friends, I mean old doll friends. But I want to share with you one that I think is very special. We have quite a few videos on YouTube and Facebook on French fashion dolls, and particularly the dolls by Mson Rohmer. And yet here we have another one. But this one I think is very sweet and has a super special wardrobe that has really actually been untouched. So I'm going to start with her, which is the doll. And I believe that her name is Emily. That's what I remember from long ago, that her name is Emily, and she is a bisque Rohmer with a cup and saucer neck. And those of you that don't know what that is, it's a neck that really, she doesn't have much of a neck. It's basically like a cup sitting on a saucer. And usually when you see these types of necks, which is basically no neck, it indicates a child. If it has a longer, elongated neck, that would signify an adult. So she is an enfantine, which is basically a preteen or just about 13 years old. And we can determine that by the length of the skirt. Now, at this early age, which we're talking about mid-1860s, this costume, if it were full length, could be a lady. The only thing that makes it different is the length. And the Rohmer company, unlike the famous Hure company, they had their dolls in ladies and as children. So it could go either way. And I should point out before we go any farther, I have this beautiful child's dress from about the same era. And in a lot of ways, if you do the math and scale it down, the proportion of the width of the skirt and the basic construction, there's not much difference between this child's dress and these dolls. And another tie-in I have this to remind me is Marie Antoinette Leontine Rohmer's mother was a very renowned children's clothing designer and maker. So you can see a lot of that in this wardrobe. And I do want to point out to another thing that I think is very interesting in the Rohmer dolls. They have probably the most cuddly bodies. So just feeling this doll today, getting this prepared for all of you, you know, it's a very pleasing doll to handle because it's soft, but it's not too soft. It's hard, but not too hard. It's just right. She should have been named Goldilocks. So I guess I'm going to start from, well, what would we start with? I think I'm going to start here, which I might have saved this white work for last because even though it's not showy, I think it really has some of the most outstanding sewing of anything on this table because all of that red work is all hand done. So it literally is probably, I would say it's probably 8 yards at least of that trim to go around, and maybe more, to do all this work. So it's all this red work, and then it's all of this is also all hand done. So it's pretty spectacular. And she has a very lovely, necessary thing at the time, you know, Kleenex and all of that wasn't invented. So she has a very beautiful handkerchief, which I think is pretty outstanding. And this piece, I think, is really shows a lot of creativity because you have a pattern that's almost slightly modern, but we also saw that pattern in the 18th century. So that's pretty unique. And this is a very tiny doll. It's not a big doll. So we have very tiny ankle boots with gold-plated buttons, which are really sensational, I believe. And a lot of the pieces that she has, you could not use the top and use the skirt with this really very stylish jacket. I think that could even translate today as fashion forward with a few modifications. And it's black taffeta with a slight little rib to it and beautiful trim. And then we have these removable sleeves, and she has, I think, 2 pairs or maybe 3. But this, I think, is really, moving over here back to the red, these are removable sleeves, but they're crochet and they're winter sleeves. A lot of people wouldn't really get that's what they are, but crochet is part of a 19th century wardrobe. We now associate crochet with a lesser type of an art form, which it's really not. And then just a nice winter bonnet, and then a really, really beautiful snood. And this was probably bright red, and it's just faded because of the dyes into this kind of brick color. But look at the idea here, how they just used some cotton stuffed silk, and then they braided it and used that to attach it. It's a really good idea. And then some really amazing, little less than fresh, but some amazing curly lamb that's very, very beautifully done. And this too, I believe, was probably a much deeper color and just faded over time. And this is something, basket weave, shawl. Again, these are not sensational pieces, but if this doll went on the train and needed to be warm, that would be a wonderful piece. And then all French fashion dolls have little games. So this is a little lottery game, very necessary piece. And then a nice little, very hyper feminine bone fan, very pretty little thing. Now this little group of things, I do not remember when we owned her a long time ago, but it looks like she's acquired some coin purses. And I think that that's okay as long as it's noted that it's been added. And then we're going to move to, again, not elegant, exciting pieces, but necessary. These are coats. And with every French fashion doll of this time frame, if it has a complete wardrobe, you're going to find these coats. And this would be the standard, and this would be a little bit different. Umbrellas, utilitarian umbrellas, not fancy shades. And then a nice chemisette, which is beautifully made. This is a piece I want to share with you because I think that this is a little decorative apron. This is not for cleaning the house. A changeable silk stripe, but the sewing is just incredible. And I will talk about her little jumper that she's wearing. It is faded to a very lovely mellow color, but back in the day when it was brand new, I would put money on it that was bright fuchsia. And if we look through the folds of the skirt, we can see that I am correct, that it was a beautiful shade of fuchsia. Now, it's probably not from exposure so much as just the dyes on their own slightly breaking down. And then this, I thought this might be a Japanese piece, but then I realized it's just a peach pit that someone turned into a kind of a mean little bunny rabbit. But you know, you never know what you're going to find in in a trunk, a doll's trunk from a chateau from long ago. And then we have games. So this is something you really see almost in every French fashion doll of this era. You'll see the domino set. And then this game, which was great for coordination. This is also a very interesting piece. This is her crinoline, or hoop skirt if you like. And I would consider that this is most likely a summer piece because it's meant to be, it's not wool or it's not heavy cotton or linen. It's airy. And, she has a tiny waist, and this looks big and it looks wrong. However, this is actually elastic. We tend to forget that elastic has been around a long, long time, rubber and other materials to create it. So what's happened is it's gotten hard and it's stretched out. So basically what's holding it together now are the threads. I'm not a big one on cleaning, although I think that it would be okay to take these two chemises and give them a nice clean. And this is a chemise that's basically been around in stylized one form or another for about 100 years up to this time frame. So I think I will at some point give those a nice clean. And some beautifully made silk stockings that have very delicate pattern and they've held together. But this I thought was really, I admire this kind of work. And this is all in cotton. And I want you to see this tiny, tiny piping. It's just, I have no idea how they did it. But we would have a very hard time to do this today because we don't have the threads and we don't have the needles that are the scale to make this work. It looks a little bit big, but it's not. This would be a drawstring that could expand and contract. And then her pantalettes, which she is wearing, hook into that and create a kind of a onesie. And then I want to go over here because everybody loves blue. And here's another jumper in a window pane taffeta, but with a little bit of, I think a taffeta with a little bit of linen in it to give it a little more body. And I am going to go in and I didn't have time today, but I'm going to finger press this because look how sensational that'll look when that pleated silk is down and you get the black and blue contrast. And a beautiful blouse. These really show the skill of the Rohmer sisters and mother and a family that helped create all their items. A great snood. Today we call them snoods. In their time they were hair ornaments. And this one's really in a nice state of preservation. And this is all knotted, very nicely done. And then another suit. It's actually a dress with a coat. So if you take this off, you have almost a different ensemble underneath. And she has two blouses that she could wear with this. So a lot of mix and match. And I noticed that this was here, and this is probably a hair ornament. She wouldn't go out of the house without something in her hair, because I don't think it really, well, you could just put a belt over that and really change the look. Another pair of false sleeves with outstanding red work. Again, I think that I really cherish these things. I hope that collectors out, besides me, like them. I think they do. And then you have a Figaro jacket, also called a bolero jacket if you like, made very popular by the Empress of France, who is Spanish, and that became a motif that everyone loved. And again, this is a piece that can go with lots of outfits here to mix and match, and a hanging bag. This would hang here on the waist ribbon or belt, if you like. And when I see these shoes, I realize she's missing a folkloral costume. So this is probably, or it could be Normandy or Brittany. Someone out there will know exactly what kind of, or Strasbourg. That would probably be the real shoes for that. And then, fashion dolls have to have, and fashion girls have to have all the latest accessories. So we have a prayer book by Earnhardt and Mson, who was active supplying the French makers. We know that now. We didn't know it for many, many years, but there have been great researchers who found that information. And a handbag. And a lot of Rohmers have vision problems. So we've got a nice set of glasses and a little chatelaine with scissors and binoculars, and some laundry pins, and a toilette set. And these are really interesting. Again, they are elastic and they have stretched out. So it could either be garters for her sleeves or garters for her legs. She may have garter holders built into her. I have not looked at her body in quite a few years. But I'm going to save the last costume that in the collection that it's my personal favorite. And this plaid, because I'm mad for plaid. And it's a silk linen combination woven together. And it's I don't know, whose family that plaid is, because it's blue, lavender, green, gold, but it's very, very stylish and classically of the Rohmer family with the jet beads. And then they've created with the jet beads the illusion of another bolero jacket in a jacket, and then by doing that, they've created this vest front, which gives it kind of a masculine, feminine quality. And I would think that she would wear this hat when she wears this. That's just my guess. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. Of course, if you're playing it, she can wear anything you want with it. And she doesn't have a lot of pairs. She has just 2 pairs of shoes and then these wooden pieces. But it's a very a normal amount of things that you find when you get a doll from an original family. And sometimes when we have a trunk like this, we'll find other things and things that belong to other dolls, because the trunk is really responsible for the whole thing being preserved. So if something can be put away and then forgotten for 50, 100, 150 years, it keeps it all in nice condition. So I hope you enjoyed this segment. We're going to try between now and December, when we will have our next big extravaganza, to give you programs here and there. We're going to try weekly, but life happens, so you never know. But friends, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button.